In a story that absolutely nobody is covering, the Walt Disney Company has lost market share in one of its most important segments. Led by Dana Walden, it could mean that the House of Mouse will have to go with somebody not named Dana for the next CEO, even if Bob Iger wishes so that she could be the next leader. Disney Plus losing viewership, losing ratings, and now it could be grating on investors. Hello folks, hello friends, welcome back. Yet again, another video of excellence on the way. Every single day, it's all we know how to do. Even the Holly Weirds can feel the zeal that we bring to you. As we dive in, click the like button, drop a comment down below, and let's talk about just how badly Disney Plus is now losing places like YouTube and Netflix. It's up next, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Dana Walden is slipping and dipping down the Disney Plus and streaming and all the stuff on TV, and we are here to let you know. From that park place, written by little old me, your friendly neighborhood pro, Disney slipped significantly year to year in original content and streaming viewership market share. Nobody else reporting this, but we are happy to do so. Disney loves us for it. Disney shares of total US TV viewing has slipped over the past year. Nielsen's media distributor gauge and the details of what did drive Disney's viewing make the bigger story pretty clear. Disney is leaning harder on sports, aka ESPN, and seasonal library programming, while the industry's biggest originals gravity is increasingly pulling elsewhere, aka people are going to Netflix. Take a look at this, folks. Out of the Hollywood Reporter, Disney's empire made gains, they say, but YouTube leads in overall TV use in December. You can see that YouTube content creators represent 12.7% of all viewership on TV's period. So if you're watching TV, 12.7% of the time across America, it was made by a YouTube content creator. Valiant Renegade, Jonas, Culture, Nat, me, somebody made it, and that's what's on the TVs. 12.7% of the time, it's the lead. What should we say? The handing off of entertainment and commentary to the vast swaths of Americans, that has now happened. Disney trailing with 10.7%, Netflix down at about 9%, and then you can continue down. However, what's not being said by the Hollywood Reporter or anybody else is that Disney is not gaining. They're not. In the December 2024 media distributor gauge, aka 1 year ago, Disney ranked number 1 with 11.2% of total TV usage. 1 year later, Disney is now number 2 at 10.7. That's a 0.5 share point decline year over year in one of the most content-heavy, TV-heavy months on the calendar. It's also at a point where Disney is buffeted by heavy sports schedules that benefit ESPN and ABC sports coverage, automatically placing easy watch time into Disney's bracket. It gets worse, though, because guess what else, folks? It's in here. I don't know exactly where it is in the article. We'd have to go down and find it. King of the Hill. I know. Listen, I loved it. I thought it was great. Shockingly, though, it was the number 2 streaming show for the fall and into December. Holy cow. Even with that happening, even with, well, they can't count Bluey, can they? Even with that happening, even with all the Christmas movies that Disney has, they still fell. That's a problem. So what's going on here, folks? We'll take a look at this. It's even worse, really, because if we're talking about who produced the stuff, that's one thing. But what about the platforms? Well, Disney Plus has now fallen to 4.8% of all platform viewership on TVs. 4.8%. But remember, that is Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN added together. Now, if you remember that Hulu is bigger than Disney Plus, we believe. And if you remember back in the days when we actually could see what Disney Plus was doing, it would get something like 1.8, 1.9. Folks, Roku and Tubi are likely now beating Disney Plus. Just nobody will say anything about it. Jonas, you're an expert on this. I want to bring you in now. This is really bad stuff, and I know why they don't want to talk about it at all. This is a catastrophic collapse for Disney in terms of their content consumption, not their theme parks, not their cruises, not their merchandise, but the content creation, the digital stuff. And who's over that? Dana Walden. And she is not looking good right now as a future potential CEO. Jonas, walk us through how Disney hides all of this and why it takes that park place to prove it so.
Well, Disney would be happy for everyone to think that Bluey is a product that they make. I think that's why the initiative is there so much for them to get Bluey in the park. So everyone associates, you know, the 45 billion watch minutes or whatever ridiculously high number that is They want people to think that that is Disney and can never leave Disney, and it's never going to be anything other than a Disney product. Just to make that clear, in 2019, Disney bought it as an afterthought. And how much of an afterthought was it? They didn't secure the theme park or merchandising rights at the same time. They've made similar deals with other programs to try to keep that in-house, and they didn't do it with Bluey. So that is the biggest thing on streaming by far, bar none. If you look at the Hulu stuff, it's a lot of legacy content. The only thing in the streaming charts, and when you start going to like the sub charts of movies, K-pop Demon Hunters was double what Moana 2 was. And then after that, it's nothing that was released before nothing that was released after the firing of John Lasseter. So maybe Encanto's on there, which of course was mostly a Lasseter production. So this is a company that is on its last legs. It's skating on the momentum of what has existed up until around 2018, 2019, and everything else has lost the interest of the people. When you have free services like Tubi and Roku and services that are actually worried about serving up things that people want, like Prime Video, those are the ones where they have a profit incentive to do well, whereas Disney has one primary customer base they're worried about, and that is the shareholders.
Let's walk through this real quick, Jonas.
They want the headlines more than they want the actual profitability at this point.
If we look at the Disney stat over there, that says that 4.7% of the time that a TV is on in America, it's on a Disney platform. But that's not just Disney Plus, that's Disney, ESPN, Hulu. If we were to divide that number into three and say, all right, all three are equal, we know that's not true, by the way. We know that Hulu is likely in the lead. But if we did so, that would mean that Disney Plus had 1.6%. And that might actually be accurate. So 1.6% would place Disney Plus, the lead platform for Disney, the flagship, below Peacock. Nobody is talking about this, Jonas. This is a horrible situation that is being hidden by the media.
Well, and also 1/3 of that viewing on Disney Plus is probably Bluey. That's the latest figures that we saw. It's a couple years old, but when you look at I would put the entirety of Disney Plus at under 150 billion watch minutes for the entire year, if I were to guess.
And this is what happens when you have a collapse in Marvel and Star Wars that they don't want to talk about. It's not just the box office, Nat. It's also TV. But they hide it by putting a little asterisk next to Disney and saying, oh, Disney's doing great. They're at 4.7. That puts them in third place. It's like, no, that's not actually what's happening here. Nat, how badly is it hurting Disney that they've lost these IPs now? People are no longer interested in them.
It's those, but I also think, for example, DComs or just content for teenagers, not just kids. I think they're also losing that as well. Like they completely lost focus on all fronts, I think, because I haven't heard of any interest in Disney from the younger generation either, which used to be also what they were able to capture at least a little bit towards the end. But I think for now, they're just going to continue to go down the path of destruction.
That's a really good point. They deprioritize that Disney Channel content, which used to own the kids market. And so, they can spend $250 million on something like The Acolyte, but when they do a Descendants 4 or a Hocus Pocus 2, not that Hocus Pocus 2 is the same thing, but audience is not dissimilar. Those are the things that actually drive viewership on Disney Plus. So it's almost as if they were chasing an audience that they didn't have when they did all this Star Wars stuff, and left the audience that they actually did have behind with all this weird activist nonsense.
Culture, the other thing here is Disney has three services that are combined together. They are basically being doubled by just Netflix. But not only that, they're basically being tripled by YouTube. And we're not talking about all of YouTube. We're talking about the TV app for YouTube.
Yeah. Just
the app on TVs.
Well, I'm not.
YouTube is tripling everything Disney has.
Well, and look, I'm not sure if you've kept track of your analytics, but I looked at mine yesterday because I had plenty of time, going to and from the doctor appointment that I had. So I was going through the analytics and discovered 1/3 or more than 1/3 of the people watching my content are doing so on televisions. They're not. Yeah, a third of my content is on phone, and a third of my content is on what was it? Some other device, right? Computer.
They're gonna put him on the TV.
So when you start looking at that, you realize that YouTube kind of is the biggest streaming platform, despite how wonderfully well Netflix seems to perform at about 20% of streaming content. So I often have times with the new big data modeling that Nielsen uses, but I think it's hard to argue that you know, from within each of these services, they definitely know what's happening, because I know what's happening with my channel, and I know what's driving content. And as Jonas already, you know, mentioned, and I think you did as well, Bluey is Disney minus programming. That's it. It's what's 1/3 of their views is this wonderful kids show.
Well, Culture, they got rid of the Star Wars and Marvel and Nat Geo at the top. They got rid of that.
Yeah.
And I think I know the reason. It's because all those things combined together with their big tabs that took up all that real estate on the screen, it didn't total up to Bluey. So just put Bluey at the top and leave it alone. Put Bluey, then put a Hulu show. Bluey and King of the Hill. And from now on, every day, Disney, Bluey and King of the Hill. There you go. And Golden Girls.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why Netflix has spent so much money trying to retain the rights for Friends. I mean, there's a reason why, you know, Warner Brothers tries to hang on to a lot of this stuff for their streaming platform, you know, HBO Max. It's because they recognize the value of that giant content library that they could certainly lease to others, but that really brings in people forever. Because despite the psychology around the idea of binging a show that you've seen 1,000 times in a row, and believe me, we all do it. We all have a weakness. But besides all of that, I mean, that's why people retain your platform. You know, why would you hang on to something unless you can stream what are your favorites? And the problem is there are no modern favorites. And I think you kind of landed on this with not just Marvel, but with Star Wars. They removed the fan base by changing the appeal of the content. And they got rid of the 50-year-olds and everybody that came after them because there's nobody to share you know, the new content with, because you don't want to share it because it's not as good as what you remember. And I've seen some arguments. I don't know if you guys have. I have a question for all of you, though. Are we about out of nostalgia?
Yes.
Okay.
It's now a bad thing when we hear that something is getting rebooted or remade or revived. So, yes, I would say so.
But I also think because of the loss of TV and syndication, we also, like, younger generations don't have to, you know, wait through an older movie that they might just find on TV, watch it, and then see their show. So there's also been a loss, in my opinion, of respect for, like, older movies because they're just not as out there and then just common as they used to be.
The ability to discover is gone, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I will say that one of the things that I've been impressed with, and again, this is a question for everybody, I've noted that in my feed, I'm looking at a bunch of YouTube creators that are young people that are finding music and bands and videos, like music videos. They're watching it for the first time. The reaction channels for that are growing like a weed. And is that a phenomenon that's the only area that's going to have growth in the future? Is there used to be good music and now the young people are finding it?
Yes, well,
desperate for for what was before woke. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we wasted a decade on inverting morality and using quotas and going back to the idea that tribes matter above the individual and all that. People are desperate to go back to the old stuff. Sure, Jonas, go ahead.
No, I think this is the point. The counterculture is now a media based thing. The idea that, you know, they latched onto Comic-Cons. There was a pivot point when Twilight took over Comic-Con, in which a lot of these franchises became feminized in a way that was really destructive long term. So yes, we can blame Stephanie Meyer for the destruction of civilization in some way. I'm going to put that on her right now.
Good. She deserves it. She deserves it.
And so now we've reached a point at which nerd culture has now become the culture. And so the nerds are the people who say, no thank you. The people who are less desirable don't have the power at the top. It's the people who are willing to say, no thanks, I'm going to do my own thing. You guys need let us know when you stop doing all this weird stuff. Starfleet Academy is everything that they think should work in current society, and they're incorrect. That's obviously not on Disney Plus. It is a thing that Paramount wasted a bunch of money on. But right now, Disney is a company that has completely lost track of the audience. They insisted that the audience would follow the quality. And also they fired all the people who were capable of producing quality. So Disney is an IP holding company. They wanted to be the next Netflix, but instead they became the next Yahoo Screen with more IP.
You know how Disney can fix this, Jonas?
Fire Bob Iger and hire John Lasseter?
Nah. Wonder Man. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another video of pure excellence and fun. Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. That's what we hope you believe we've just done. And why should you believe it? Well, because we've done our very best to make it so. To be true, to be factual, and to do what the mainstream so-called access journalists simply won't. Folks, you can help share this out across the fruited plains of YouTube by clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say sayonara for now, we ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep having fun.